Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we are doing the Game Week 11 team selection video where we're going to be going through my team scores from last week, what I'm going to be doing for my transfers this week, and who I'm going to be captaining basically, and just picking my team. You know the drill by now, guys. If you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like. Can we shoot for 2,000 likes on this video? I think we probably can. And make sure you are subscribing if you haven't done already. But quickly, just a small message before we start the video. Before we go any further, this video has been kindly sponsored by Skillshare, an online learning community with thousands of classes for both creative and curious people. Now, this platform has been great for people like me who always want to learn and improve my craft. For example, I really recommend this video class from Thomas Frank. No, not the Brentford manager, the YouTuber. And he's got a class on productivity that really helped me improve my workflow. I really do love how the classes work. They're broken up into digestible segments, so you don't have to take the whole class in one go. You can hop in and out literally whenever you want. There are no ads to interrupt your learning flow either. And many of the online courses are taught by some very familiar online faces. The first 1,000 people to click the link in the description will get an absolutely free 1 month free trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. So guys, if you have any interest whatsoever, go claim your free trial before they're all gone. Doing so also really helps to support the channel. Alright, so let's have a look at my scores from Game Week 10 first of all. And I would say it was a pretty good score. 69 points, the funny number indeed. I think that's a reasonably good rank. It's not like an insanely good amount of points, but it's still very decent. You know, we got some decent amount of points from players like Cancelo. I mean, he was kind of the game changer. If you didn't have Cancelo, you're probably in real trouble in Game Week 10, to be fair. Bowen came through, Zaha came through, Martinelli definitely came through, Holland delivered as he always does. Kane came through as well, as he seems to be pretty consistent as well, to be fair. Some of these other cheaper players didn't do so well, like Anderson and Mings, those cheap defenders, having to cover for Mitrovich, who was sadly injured. And real disappointments really from Madison, who I think we all expected a little bit more from. Maybe Bournemouth are not as easy of an opponent as we make them out to be. I wonder. They are actually doing reasonably well, so maybe, you know, maybe we need to switch our thoughts on Bournemouth a little bit. And of course, Reece James, we got absolutely pottered. We thought Tuchel, it was gone. You know, there's not going to be any more crazy rotation at Chelsea, but we've got Pep reborn, and the new #1 enemy of the FPL community is going to be Graham Potter for benching the likes of James, Sterling. Who else was benched? Thiago Silva was benched as well, wasn't he? It was just madness, and I'm sure it impacted a few of you guys. Aubameyang as well, Christ. But yeah, hopefully it didn't hit you guys too hard, and maybe just had the 1 or 2 Chelsea players. But yeah, Reece James disappointment. Let's see how that progresses moving forward, and let's talk about Game Week 11. Okie dokie, so still got 2 transfers. We've still got that spare transfer, if you like, that we can kind of use in the future to kind of do something crazy around Game Week 12, which I think we're going to have to do something crazy around Game Week 12 because so many players are blanking. We're going to need to somehow figure out how we're going to deal with Game Week 12 as well, which we'll talk about in this video. And we've got 0.8 in the bank, so we do have a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of maneuverability as well. So let's start off in goal, and we'll move through to the forwards, benches, and then we'll do the transfer. So first of all, Nick Pope in goal. Now, I'm not expecting too many clean sheets over the next 3 from Newcastle. I think they do well to get 1 clean sheet over the next 3, to be honest. But the great thing about Pope is that because he's playing these teams, you know, Manchester United and Spurs, who are going to be taking a lot of shots, I am hoping for save points. So I'm not expecting clean sheets. A clean sheet would be nice, maybe against Everton, but you know what? Hopefully there's going to be a decent amount of save points, and if we somehow manage to cheese a clean sheet, if there's a lot of save points, that could mean bonus points as well, and everything will be amazing. But you know, I have to be completely honest, Newcastle, how many, 1 clean sheet in 7 now? It's not looking good, Brev. So hopefully he can get something. But save points are going to be the main one. I don't think Pope is anywhere near essential as he was maybe a few weeks ago. Into defence, we've got Cancelo against Liverpool. I don't think this is a particularly easy game for him because I do think Liverpool will score goals. But if Man City are somehow able to eke out a clean sheet, you know, if anyone's going to keep a clean sheet against Liverpool, you probably would say that it is Manchester City. And Cancelo, he has just been such a crazy player. He scores like 0 points or 1 point or 2 points one game week, and the next game week he goes absolutely wild and gets like a 10-pointer plus. Now, this game week is the week he should, you know, probably not get any points, but you never know with him. You never know when he's going to get an assist or take a shot on that leads to a goal, or do like nice dribbling into the box, taking shots on, making those passes. He's a sick player. We all know that, but don't expect too much from him in this Liverpool game. Next up, we've got Reece James, who I still Don't know if he's going to be available or not, unfortunately. I'm really hoping he is available, but that's definitely something that I want to keep an eye on. What I'm mostly hoping is that the injury isn't too bad, because I do want to keep James for the long term, and I'm not too worried about rotation in the future from James as long as he is fit. The problem last game week, the reason he got rotated last game week, is because he was carrying a knock. He had a dead leg from that game against AC Milan, so he wasn't quite ready to start the game in game week 10. So that was the reason he wasn't starting. It wasn't because of, he was just getting rotated. It's not because he's rotation prone necessarily. So I do think once James is back to full fitness, he is going to be readily available and in our teams and scoring points against some, nice oppositions there week in, week out. So I do really want to keep him. So we need to try and figure out how we can keep him if he's injured, and hopefully he's not injured too badly and we can just keep him anyway. Next up, I'm going for Anderson. So Anderson, a bit of a differential of mine. You guys know I do like a bit of a differential, and why not go for a 4.5 million as a defender, as a bit of a differential. Now, one of the reasons I brought him in is because I kind of see him as a bit of an aerial threat. He's an absolute giant. We like those. I tell you what, the big Scandinavian blokes doing quite well at the moment. Holland, Billing. Is Anderson the next on the list to be the big Scandinavian bloke to score us some points? I really hope so. So, yeah, aerial threat against Leicester. Leicester are a team that typically aren't great at defending from set pieces and things like that. So that is hopefully going to give an opportunity for a goal potentially, or a knock-on or something like that. That's what I'm hoping for. Even though I don't think this is an amazing fixture from a defensive point of view. I don't think this season there's no such thing as a good fixture from a defensive point of view, because no one's getting clean sheets. But there we go. That's just one of those things. And I'm just kind of hoping that we can get something out of this, which I think, to be fair, it is possible. So we live in hope. Into midfield, we have got Madison. Bit of a disappointing game week last game week. Again, this game week, I'm not super confident. And I actually have to admit to you guys, after these two fixtures, I'm probably looking at removing Madison, and I'm even thinking about removing him now. I know some people are still trying to bring Madison in. I think the ship has sailed really on that one. I think we need to be moving on to some other players, but Madison is a player I'm genuinely considering removing. I'm not 100% sure on that, but do I want him long term? Maybe not. The good thing about Madison is that he does play in game week 12. He's got a fixture in game week 12, which means maybe we do need to prioritise our transfers elsewhere to try and cover our game week 12 blanks, rather than trying to go in too hard on just making kind of luxury transfers, I guess. But if you've got free transfers, why not use them in the luxury ways? But look, it could happen. We know he's a fantastic player. We know he has these moments of brilliance and these brilliant games where you can just score loads of FPL points for us. So hopefully that's going to be one of those game weeks this week, assuming we keep him. We've got Jared Bowen in next. He's got Southampton. This is a decent fixture, as we know. And Bowen has been in some good form as well. He's scoring goals. He's on penalties. He's, like in some really dangerous positions and taking on shots, which is really nice to see. So he's really on it right now. And he's definitely a player that I would say, if you don't have him already, maybe think about getting him. Because even after that in game week 12, I know I've put Liverpool down as a red fixture. But if you're an attacker, is Liverpool, with their current defensive situation and their current injury situation as well, is Liverpool actually such a difficult fixture? If you're an attacker, you probably go there thinking, hey, I can maybe score a goal or two in this situation. So I do really wonder whether Bowen could do the business there as well. So yeah, Southampton for now. Hoping for some more continued good stuff. Keep that goal scoring form going and keep it going every week. That would be pretty nice. Next up, we've got Zaha. I consider this game against Leicester a good fixture indeed. If you're an attacker, we saw again last week Leicester showing their defensive fragilities. Seems like that's going to happen every week, doesn't it? So yeah, Crystal Palace and a player like Zaha, who is really a magical player, really the most nailed on and one of the best, well, the best attacker in that Crystal Palace team on penalties as well. Always making driving runs. He's always going to be dangerous. He's always going to have that possibility of picking up FPL points. And I think, if Crystal Palace can score a few goals in this game, and I really do think so, that they can, you just know that Zaha is going to be involved in, like 50% of all of Crystal Palace's goals. Zaha is either going to have the goal or the assist in that, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for. An absolute rout, a 4-0 or something like that would be amazing for us, really, wouldn't it? And if that was to happen, maybe Zaha's got 2 goal involvements in there somehow. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for. Martinelli, absolute star at the moment. You'd have to say that, particularly if we're just looking at the attackers, Martinelli has been Arsenal's star attacker this season. What a season he is having. Really, really impressive stuff. And he's once again proven that this 6.6 million price tag, or, 6 million price tag if you look at the beginning of the season, he's made an absolute mockery of it. He's doing phenomenally. And he's a player that we really probably want to keep. I kind of want to keep him now through the blank to make sure I have him ready for the following game weeks. We've got Southampton and Nottingham Forest. So before I was thinking, all right, maybe I'm going to do Martinelli to Trossard around about now or next game week. Now I'm thinking, you know what? I think we keep Martinelli. I think we do keep him. So one of my kind of thoughts right now, I guess, is how can we keep him? How do we do that? How do we upgrade our bench where we can cover Martinelli? And that's a big thing that I'm thinking right now. Moving up front, we've got Holland. Again, Liverpool. Is it such a tough game? We know how many injuries Liverpool have at the moment. They've got Matip out. They've got Trent Alexander-Arnold out. They've got Luis Diaz out. They've got a whole bunch of other players. Keita's still out. I could go on and on. They've got a lot of injuries right now. It really is a bit of a problem for Liverpool. And that's, they were defending bad enough already. Now they're missing, 2 of their starting defenders, if you like, for this game. It's going to be difficult for them. And Manchester City could really, really put them to the sword in this game. I know the game's at Anfield, and I know that on paper sounds like a really difficult fixture. But, a lot of people said the same thing about the Manchester United game, saying, I'm not convinced by Holland against Manchester United. Manchester United are a huge club. Are they really going to be able to do it in a game like that? And, Holland and the gang absolutely did. So I think, again, form over fixture, this is going to be good for Holland and for the other City players like Foden. If I had Foden right now, I would be very, very happy. But unfortunately, I don't. We've got Kane here as well. Mr. Consistency. Everton is one of his most favoured opponents. He loves playing against Everton. I know Everton have been keeping a decent amount of clean sheets this season, but they have been overperforming on their XGC, their expected goals conceded, quite a lot this season. So I do wonder if that's going to kind of catch up on them. I wonder if they've been kind of lucky to have not conceded as many goals as they've been kind of lucky that they haven't conceded more goals than they have, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And they are still conceding a lot of chances. So Kane is going to hopefully be all among that and scoring goals and doing what he does best. So yeah, more returns from Kane. Mr. Consistency. He has been a bit of an underdog in many ways this season, with kind of living in Holland's shadow in a way, which is kind of interesting. But I still think a lot of FPL managers really rate Kane at the moment, and I'm no different. And finally, we've got Mitrovich, who I know a lot of you guys are going to be screaming out, is he fit? Is he available? Well, he's been training, which is good. He is in full training. We like that. We like to see it. All of the comments from the manager have been reasonably positive. So I do believe he is going to be back and ready for this Bournemouth game. Even if he wasn't, at this point, if you still have Mitrovich, even if he's close but not quite ready, you still probably want to keep him for Aston Villa and Leeds and Everton after that, to be fair. So, yeah, Mitrovich, I think, is just a keep no matter what the situation is. And hopefully you guys are going to be able to cover it with your bench. You're going to need to upgrade your bench anyway for Game Week 12. So, it's not the end of the world if he does get benched or if he's not available. I do have that slight concern that if he is kind of touch and go, that maybe he comes off the bench or something like that and gets like a 1-pointer from the bench. But to be honest, look, Fulham are going to want to score as many points as they can. Mitrovich is going to want to get as many minutes as he can. If he's ready, if he's available, even if he's not at 100%, he will still want to play, and he still will probably bang, given the form he's been in this season, last season, etc., etc., etc. I've spoken enough about how good Mitrovich has been statistically, and how he's performing so well, and how he's the heart of everything that Fulham are doing in attack. Brilliant player. Definitely would be I'm definitely looking to keep him. I just need to make sure that, with players like Reece James and like Mitrovich, can I cover them with my bench? Let me show you what I've got on my bench right now. So we've got Iverson, not going to play. Andreas, I know he scored last game week. Commiserations to those of you who lost out on the 6 points from Andreas last game week. I was exactly the same, so don't worry. Mings, not really feeling playing him against Chelsea, to be honest. I actually slightly prefer Andreas. I wonder if maybe Chelsea will score a couple of goals against Aston Villa, leaving Mings with like a 1-pointer, maybe even a 0-pointer. You never know when you get a yellow card or something like that. And we've got Patterson, who is still injured for a few more game weeks, sadly. So not really offering us too much there. So There's basically two ways I can go here. I still got 2 free transfers, so I'll actually have 3 transfers total by the time, well, by the time we get to the Game Week 12 deadline, I suppose. I have 3 opportunities to make changes. So how am I going to do this? Now, I spoke earlier about how I want to keep Martinelli, how I want to keep Cancelo, how I want to keep Holland. I want to keep these players, all 3 of them, in the bench, which means I need to try and get a full 11 of playing players. And the only way I can do that is like transferring out Patterson to someone else. And I can either do that this game week or I can do that next game week. The other move I'm kind of contemplating is Madison, getting rid of Madison and replacing him with Trossard. Trossard has got 2 games against Brentford and then Nottingham Forest back-to-back. So these are really, really nice fixtures that I really kind of like. And I kind of want Trossard for those 2 fixtures. Do I prefer him to Madison? I think I have enough transfers where I can make these kind of luxury moves, if you like. And I'm really tempted to do it, but I'm not 100% convinced by it. So it's one of those risky transfers where it could work out, it could really backfire. I've also got to think, I've got more opportunities for transfers next game week. Do I need to fix the problems right now? Maybe not. Now, one thing that I think is probably the sensible transfer, so for the purpose of this video, I'm going to talk about the most sensible transfer. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more on tomorrow's deadline stream. But the most sensible transfer for me to do right now, in my opinion, is to transfer Patterson out and replace him with Adam Webster. Let me tell you why. The reason primarily is because in Game Week 12, I need to have a full bench of playing players, so I can just bench Cancelo, Martinelli, and Holland. If those 3 players go on the bench, then I need, like in this situation, Anderson, Mings, and now Webster are all going to be able to play. So it's going to be brilliant. We're going to have a full, 11 of playing players. Not everyone will be able to do that, which will be brilliant. It'll be really nice. And in that game week, we know that Webster has a game against Nottingham Forest, which is a very, very good, favourable fixture for him. So hopefully a clean sheet there, a real opportunity for a clean sheet, which will be nice. We've also got the situation where this game week we can kind of cover in a way. So I'm not really fully convinced about playing Andreas. I'm not fully convinced about playing Mings. You can see that Webster has moved to number 1 on the bench. So if we do have a situation where James isn't available, Mitrovich isn't available, or for whatever other reason, any of our other players on the team sheet right now are unavailable, we've got Adam Webster there to cover. In fact, I could even consider playing Webster ahead of the likes of, Anderson or something like that. Definitely an option. Maybe even Cancelo. Maybe that's a little bit too risky. But, it's a possibility, right? It's a possibility. So, Webster will be a really nice backup player to have there that will be really quite nice. Now, the reason I'm going for Webster rather than a Dunk or a Veltman or Estupinian is because Webster, and not a lot of people will know this because people just default to probably either Dunk because they know he's an aerial threat, or they'll go for Veltman because they see he's just scored, I think, the most FPL points over recent game weeks because he's got a couple of bonus points, didn't he? But in terms of baseline bonus points at the moment, over the last kind of 5, 6, 7 game weeks even, Webster has actually been doing the best on bonus points out of these players when you average it out over the whole period of time. So expecting, generally speaking, more bonus points from Webster. Interestingly, Webster is taking much more shots than Lewis Dunk, way more shots than Veltman as well, and Estupinian as well, to be fair, and creating chances as well. So Webster is really the primary goal threat from these set pieces at the moment instead of Dunk, which is something, you don't typically think that, but that has been the situation so far this season for Brighton. So I'm wondering if Webster has got a higher chance of scoring a goal than Dunk has. Everything so far this season has suggested that that is going to be the case by quite some distance. Like XG-wise, XA-wise, Webster is absolutely destroying Dunk. Neither of them have got any goals or assists yet, but if we're looking at predicting who's going to be the next one to do it, it's actually leaning towards Webster. And the final benefit of Webster is he's 4.5 million. Dunk is 4.6. Veltman is 4.6 as well. So you get a slightly cheaper player as well. Just that 0.1 million, but you never know when that's going to come in handy. At the end of the day, this player is going to be on the bench the majority of the time, especially up until the World Cup, where we'll probably redistribute our funds a little bit more sensibly, which gives us that opportunity to do that and spend a little bit of money on the bench and know that this is kind of a short-term thing and we don't need to worry about the long-term too much. But yeah, I just like this transfer a lot. It's the most sensible one, but I don't have to do it this game week. I could do it next game week. If I'm just talking about covering for game week 12, I could do it next game week. Maybe I do something crazy and I do Madison to Trossard this game week instead, and then that would allow me to move Trossard in game week 13 to Foden, which would work. I think I have enough budget to do that, which is brilliant. So that's another way I'm thinking. I think that the Webster route is the sensible route. The not so sensible route, the more risky route, the more FPL Mate route, I suppose, is to go at Madison to Trossard this game week. maybe reassess, see what we're going to do with Webster next game week, and then the following game week we will go back in on Foden for Trossard when Trossard's fixtures go a bit worse. It will be a 2-week punt, I suppose, but it's something that I'm thinking about. So there we go, guys. Finally, let's have a look at captaincy. Let's slap the captain's armband on Holland, like. Let's not beat around the bush on that one. It's just like set and forget every single game week at this point. But I'm going to put the vice captain on Harry Kane, who I do actually think could have a very good game week this week as well. You know, if you fancy a differential captain, I think you could do worse than to go for Harry Kane. But I'm never going to recommend anyone other than Holland. It's just not worth the risk anymore. It really isn't. But there we go, guys. That's going to be my team. Hopefully we can continue this trend of green arrows, keep rising and rising and rising up the ranks, because we are really smashing it over the last few game weeks. It's been nothing but dubs pretty much. So hopefully we are going to get back into those real serious and competitive places, rankings in the wider FPL global table. That's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy today, please do leave a like. I really would appreciate that so much. Don't forget to check out Skillshare as well. I would appreciate that. Link in the description. And yeah, basically, that's it. See you guys tomorrow on the deadline stream, hopefully. Do go check that out when we're there. Check out all the other videos I've made this week for Game Week 11 as well, if you want to. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.